In this video, I'm going to be talking a whole load of baubles. Now, these things don't get much of an outing. I mean, they probably don't in your house either. They'll get even less of an outing in mine because I'm not much of a Christmas person. In actual fact, these aren't even mine. These were left here by my tenant after she'd passed away earlier in the year, God rest her soul. Yeah, this is slightly a one-off. Kind of inspired actually by a challenge that was put out on the 617 Club, a weekender challenge. Each month they come up with a weekender challenge. You get just 2.5, 3 days to produce an image that is in the theme of whatever they kind of suggest. And this month's weekender was Abstract Christmas. Naturally, I did the simplest thing I could. Often, of course, we struggle with ideas and such, and indeed I struggle with ideas. I look around the house and I think, well, what is there of interest to photograph here? But when someone gives you that idea, well, heck, you really got to run with it. And this is going to be the start of a series of videos that will kind of go on over intermittently over winter, giving you the ideas of how you can continue doing photography during a time when perhaps the lights are not going to be particularly good, perhaps when it's too cold to go outside for you, perhaps the weather just isn't good, maybe you don't want to go out in the wet and cold and such. This whole series is about staying indoors, working with a few lights and getting some really interesting images out of just everyday stuff that's laying around your house. I've got a number of products that have been sent to me throughout the last few weeks that I'm going to be featuring in these videos because they absolutely work for the kind of indoor photography that I'm going to be showing you and demonstrating and indeed coming up with because I don't know quite what's going to be in this series just yet. So, this is interesting stuff. But one of the two things I'm going to feature in this video is a tripod and a light because, heck, we absolutely need both of these things within our indoor photography. Light is obviously really important, and keeping the camera steady is really important as well for the kind of reasons that, one, we don't have a lot of light even if we're introducing artificial light, and two, we need kind of repeatable compositions. We'll come back to the tripod and other gear in a moment. The photography is, as I say, simple as you like. I've programmed into my camera. Programmed in, it sounds really so grandiose, doesn't it? I've got a custom setting that gives me high contrast black and white through the screen. And it really is simple as you like. Light very, very close to the bauble suspended. One of the biggest problems, of course, is the bauble does like to move an awful lot because it's just on a piece of string. So even a waft of air coming in, as often happens because this place is a little drafty, it's bobbing and up and down now. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect because the floors are wooden and springy, so everything transfers to the tripod and the desk and everything else. So got to wait for this a little bit. If you're on concrete floors at home, and ideally not carpet, you'll probably find these kind of things settle a bit better. I suppose theoretically, instead of using the string on the baubles, you could thread perhaps a little bit of wire on it, because that would be a bit more rigid. Should have thought of that earlier. I'm able to get about a 60th of a second, so I'm quite happy with this. And bang. All I'm interested in here is the light and the shade. It's a very, very graphic thing. I want a lot of negative space. If there's anything that appears in the image that I don't want, because this is just a heavy contrast black and white, I'll just remove it in post. I don't expect any of these images to require no post-processing, if only for the reason that they are in RAW format. I'm not looking to get perfect results out of the camera here. This was actually in the middle of the frame to start with, and I've simply done some editing in Affinity, pushed it over to the edge, turned it into a square crop. I think it's got more impact this way. And I've got a modification to what I call my poor man's salon stand here. So I've still got this opposable arm. It's not the opposable arm. angle arm that I can move up and down. It's got various points on here that I can attach cameras and other gear to. But now, instead of marrying it up to one of my existing tripods, I've married it up to the brand new small rig Potato Jet Tribex SE tripod. This is very much a tripod that is aimed at videographers. It's got a videography fluid head. Let me just get that off a table. So yeah, big video head on it, lovely fluid head, works really nicely. But I've taken that off for the time being and just added my opposable. It's not an opposable. I'm thinking opposable thumb. It's not an opposable anything. It's it's this. So what makes a relatively heavy video-centric tripod a real upgrade for my poor man's salon stand? Well, one, it's relatively heavy, so it doesn't move anything like as much as my other one, which was indeed quite heavy duty, but yeah, not the same as this. And two, this is a trigger-happy tripod. Now, that may seem like a dumb thing to say, but what's a trigger-happy tripod? Well, it's this kind of trigger lever here, because as I depress it, I can adjust the tripod down and up. And that makes a real big difference, because I'm no longer reliant on the center column of the tripod. I mean, obviously, they're there to be used, but with just a squeeze of that trigger, I can adjust the height of this thing without unlocking all of the leg sections and leveling things down. I mean, that's actually a real ball ache to do that. And then, of course, you need to get things level as much as possible. You can do that here. Now, it is all in relation to how you lift and how you drop it, but that's a matter of practice. If you lift it and drop it out of square, then that's where the legs are going to go. But that's the same as just lever lock legs or twist lock legs. If you're trying to get a height adjustment, by far and away the easiest thing to do on any tripod generally is to use the center column to get it roughly in the right area and then pull that center column up and down. But of course, that does lead to a degree of wobble, and we don't have that here, because the kind of work I'm going to be doing, I'm never going to have the legs of this thing as high as they'll go. So I'll probably never even have to use the center column for the kind of tabletop work that I've got here. This thing makes indoor work for me so much better. Now, you'll have noticed that some of the shots I've taken before, I've taken with the lights on. Now the only light in this room is from the Cinepa CF100 and my laptop screen, which is pointing away. The reason I've turned the others off is because I was getting extraneous light, not because there was a lot of illumination on the bauble, which you can see down there I've actually now changed, but because it was just picking up little highlights from the room lights and also the key light behind me. And that's nothing to say that any of this is wrong, because it's about getting the image that you want. So as much as anything, I'm just kind of experimenting. I'm playing about, I'm testing things, and I'm kind of coming up with things. But the key thing that I need to point out here is that because this is high contrast black and white, it can be incredibly forgiving, because we are not looking for the nuances of these things here particularly. We are looking for the general shape. We're looking for that colour contrast, or that tonal contrast, with very, very, very few greys in there, and a lot of black and a lot of white. And okay, it's not very Christmassy, but neither am I. This is actually the JPEG straight out of camera. Tiny, tiny little bit of touching up, but nothing significant. I just expanded the background, but one of the great things about this is you can choose to simply flip this image, and it would work great as a background to an article, or I mean, it's good on its own, but if you flip the image, you can have it facing the other way. No one would ever know the difference. Photography like this is incredibly versatile for lots of purposes, but of course, it looks great as well. Now, of course, to get more creative with things like this, pick the light up, move it around, get an idea of how the way that the light hits your item, your subject, affects which parts of it are are really kind of just picking up and grabbing your attention, because that's a really important part of what it is to kind of play here. This is, for me, a play session. It's if I get something great, I get something great. If I don't, it doesn't matter, because I've enjoyed what it is that I've been doing. And of course, it doesn't have to be one light, it could be any manner of light. Perhaps you want to do it in colour. One of these lights will do that. It's full RGB. It's absolutely perfect for this kind of thing. One of the things it's really good for, of course, is, I mean, I'm kind of overkilling it a little bit here, because I'm using a bauble that big, and the light's that big. So I could use a smaller light, but one of the other things I could do is I can change the orientation of this, because this has got kind of barn doors on it, and I can sculpt that light. I can also change the orientation, so it's hitting at a very different point, and also because these things are circular, the distance that you have the light away from the bauble makes quite a difference as well, because obviously the closer you get to it, the bigger that light source becomes, and the way that the reflection of that light goes around the bauble is really, really interesting. Another thing you can do with baubles, particularly shiny baubles, is to backlight them and get a really lovely rim kind of shot, a bit like this. Now, you might think that that requires a couple of lights to do that, one on either side of it, but actually you couldn't be further from the truth. We're backlighting it. Yeah, you heard. We're backlighting it, but we are sculpting that light around the object, so that effectively it gets the rim. When you see the setup, it will become a lot more a lot more obvious, but right now there's probably a bit of head scratching going on. So this is part of the setup. I've got the bauble just shot here. It's supported by a little bit of blue tack, just so it doesn't roll around, and obviously that's at the back of it, so we can't see that. We've got a light here. You do need a big light source for it, and you might get away with simply a smaller light source with a big softbox. This isn't a huge softbox. This is the K&F Concept. I'm not sure what the model is, but I'll put it on the screen with the suitable softbox. It does for this because it's a very small object. Obviously, you need a bigger object, then you need a bigger softbox, but it's literally just shooting into the softbox behind it. Mad, eh? And of course, what's going to happen when we do that is we're just going to get this big light source behind, and yeah, probably just a silhouette of the bauble. So we have to sculpt this, and the way that we do this is it's pretty mad. So we grab a piece of black card, and we put it behind. So what happens now is the light is being forced around the outside edges of the black card, because it can't penetrate the black card. And by doing that, we force the light to catch just the sides of the bauble and reflect. But it is more than just one shot to get that, because there's a bit of compositing to go on behind the scenes, or you could just perhaps dodge and burn and such, because we need to kind of sculpt the light a little bit more, because by spilling the light around here, well, we end up with problems of light coming in on this black card here. So we'll fire one shot off kind of like this, and then we'll put more black card in around the edges, something like that, so that we don't get this spill. Or alternatively, we could of course clone it out or paste it out in post. But it's actually a whole lot easier to do this because you see it's just the placing of another couple of pieces of card. It's so much simpler than fixing this in post. But yeah, even if you can't get the whole thing across, then that's okay, because if you get enough of it, you can fix it in post by just cutting and pasting the bits that we're that we get spilling over the edges here. But such a small thing, it's not really going to make that much difference. Now we do need to do this in total darkness, well, without the room lights on, because obviously it's a highly reflected surface, and I'm getting a reflection of the ceiling lights just down there. So we're going to have to take those off. Some of my work is available in a local gallery, and I was in there the other day and I picked up this little 3D printed Christmas tree. It's a beautiful kind of iridescent copper metallic colour. Beautiful thing. And I thought, well, I'm not into Christmas, but I really would like to photograph this. So let's give it a go here. And a similar setup to what we had with the bauble a moment ago, but different. Still with the light here, but we're not going to block that light off now. What we're going to do is we're using that light as a white background. Yeah, a lot of images that you see, particularly product shots and such, aren't photographed on a white background. They're actually photographed on a white light, softbox like this. It makes things a whole heap easier, but it also means you get a really good kind of wrap-around light, so long as obviously you give it some lighting from the front as well. And we're doing that with the with this Cinepa a CF100 light, which I'm simply laying on the desk and full power right ahead of it, and I'm shooting over the top. I'm just skimming the top of it. I really like this against the white background. It really shows up very well. But I also shot it with the black background. See what you think. Which is your favourite? I urge you to raid your Christmas tree over the festive period. You don't need to take everything off one at a time so you don't annoy the family, and give this kind of thing a go. There's another idea here, and again I'm using the softbox as the backlight, blocking out a great deal of light. I'm just getting a bit of spill through, and I've got this long light running over the top, and what that's doing is it's giving me another additional line in the top of the bauble. Just again, that little bit of kind of highlight definition, seriously underexposing the image to make it very, very black, and just really exposing just for those highlights till we get the rim light. Very, very visual image. I mean, images are visual, aren't they? But you know what I mean. I was ever so slightly off with that Cinepa CF100 light above. You can see that it's not quite central on the bauble. Precision is important. If you've had some value out of this video, please click the like button, this thumbs up one, subscribe, join the channel, buy me a coffee, there's a link down below, or if you need to go and get some of the things that I've shown you in this video, there's affiliate links down in the description as well. I will run you out with some other images that I haven't shot on camera. I hope you enjoy them. Be inspired, go take some great pictures. We'll see you soon. Take care.